We've just had a big snow here in the Ozarks, and so we're thinking about heat. And in this video, we're gonna set up a diesel heater and test it out in both our van and our Jeep to give you a real world look at how it performs. We're up to 63 back here. It's 28 outside, it's still dropping. This is crazy. Stick around. Welcome back to the new workshop, which is here in our garage at our house, which we call Wilder Mountain. The snow is mostly melted. It's actually kind of warm today, so it's comfortable in here. With the shop move behind us, we're ready to get back into some traveling and doing some camping here in the Ozarks. So with the snow that just came, we're thinking about winter camping and how we're gonna stay warm. So it really works out that Vevor reached out and sent us this diesel heater. Now there's a lot of diesel heaters on the market. This one is like, you can think of it almost like a pre-assembled case with a bunch of individual pieces you could put together yourself. That's mostly plug and play. It does still require a little bit of setup. So we could have bought a heater for the van that like we install in the van and plumb the exhaust and the fresh air intake through the floor and had like a built-in system. The reason why we didn't do that, and we're excited to try out one of these systems, is we have two vehicles. We also have our Jeep that we travel in. I'm not counting the RV because it's got a propane furnace. We want to be able to use something in the Jeep as well as the van, and so a portable system like this that we can take back and forth between each rig is ideal. We've just got to figure out how to set it up so that we can move it from rig to rig without too much of a complicated process. So it's got the heater, a controller, it's got a remote start function, and a built-in gas tank that's pre-plumbed and ready to go. What it doesn't have is much of an electrical setup. You get this, inline fuse, couple of bare wire ends, and that's because there's a lot of different ways you might want to run this. In most cases, you would want to run this off like in the van. We can run this straight off of our big battery bank in the van, no problem. That's the smartest way to do it. Or we could run it off of like, a lithium battery that we have set up, or like an AGM battery, like an automotive style battery in the Jeep. Problem is we don't have that set up in the Jeep. In the Jeep we run on power banks, like this one. We have a few, and I've got them out here in the garage. We're gonna try and see if we can get this thing running on one of our power banks. My understanding is it takes a bit of power draw to get like the glow plug heated up in this thing to get it rolling. After it's rolling, apparently it uses less power, but the cord says over 15 amps. Most like cigarette plug outlets are gonna be fused at 10 amps or like have a breaker at 10 amps. Some power banks can run more than that, some can do less. Anyway, let's get to setting it up. The first thing I gotta do is hook up the exhaust and the fresh air intake. Everything I'm showing you here except for the power cord adapters was included with the unit. And these ports are labeled. It's got an arrow going in on this one and an arrow coming out on this one because this is the input and that's the output, which is good because the fuel line's right here and this exhaust is gonna get pretty hot. But this is the intake side, which I'm gonna route through the case over here. And then this is the output side, which we're gonna route out the side over here. If you were mounting this in your vehicle, you would like bolt it down and run this through the floor. We're gonna set ours up outside the rig. So nice having all my tools organized. Now it's good. And that's really all the setup we need to like test it. It's got a muffler that goes on the end of this. We want to hold this air intake up with something, but let's just get it fired up and see if we can get it to run. With the exhaust coming out the side, it's actually in contact with the base of what it's sitting on. This thing has feet with holes in it, and basically in the manual and everything I've seen, when you have it set up with the exhaust running out the side, it's like shows it being just put up on blocks. So for now, I'm just gonna set it up on some 2x4s to keep the exhaust from like burning whatever I have it set on, and we're gonna see if we can get this thing to fire up on a power bank. All right. Optimistic that this is going to work off of our power bank, but if any one of our banks can do it, it's definitely the set power. Okay, the controller just fired up. So how do I do it? On.
Start heating.
Start heating. $47 watts coming out, not bad at all. Cold air. Power's definitely climbing over here. Nothing's getting hot, so that's good. Something's getting hot. All right. Not good. Not a good power connection. Holy cow, I cannot believe that just freaking caught on fire. That must have a fault in it. We were only pulling 90 watts. There's no way that that thing couldn't handle 90 watts. But this is why we test. This thing is rated for, no, it doesn't say. All right, yeah, so to be clear, that was not a power bank problem or a diesel heater problem. That was this little junction piece. And look, you can see, maybe you can see, it's actually kind of bent. It was like that, I noticed a little bit when I put it on that it wasn't straight, but it just melted right through the side. The power cord for the diesel heater, not warm at all. Power cord from that I had plugged into the power bank, not hot at all. It was just a fault in that plug. So that's what I get for not vetting my stuff I bought on Amazon. I can hear it loose. This was broken. All right, I'm switching to a different battery, taking that whole adapter out of the mix because the cord that I have here can plug straight into this battery. I don't need a cigarette lighter adapter. I'm less confident in this one working though, totally honest, because this power bank could not start the compressor on our fridge in the van, whereas other ones could, but we're gonna give it a shot. It will, if it overloads, just turn off. It's done it to me before.
Start heating.
Start heating. And now we will watch for fires, especially because we have diesel on the floor in the garage. Coming up against what I think is the limits of the output here. I think this can do about 120 watts. Fans just kicked on. 112, 115. I don't think it's going to go much above 10 amps. Ah, the pump has started. That'll use some extra watts. Not hot yet. I do feel some heat coming off the exhaust though. And we just lost power. It's got the short warning. Not enough power for this. It gets above 120 watts, which is more than most power banks offer on the 12 volt side. So now we're gonna go to plan C. Full size battery. And we're gonna have to figure out a better way to run this battery in the Jeep when we're camping in the winter. Maybe we just bring it when we're camping in the winter and the rest of the time we don't use it. I don't know, we're gonna figure it out. New plan, make some battery cables. Always easy to find the leverage on this thing. Good. pumped in. I'm gonna watch this very closely while it powers up. So
Start heating.
this has more than enough power. Alright, the pump is kicked on. Oh no, cooking. Oh, stinky. Okay. Definitely smells like a truck exhaust. It's screaming. And that is warming up. This thing sounds like a jet spooling up. Oh, that's warm. Sweet. It's working. It's very loud. I didn't really read the instructions, so while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna go check that out. I don't really know how to turn it up or down or what, but it's definitely heating now. Alright, so it was just kind of rolling full blast. I can now turn it down here and start dropping the temperature down. It goes into auto mode at full blast and you set a temperature. But that temperature sensor is in this, so if this is outside, it's not going to work. We can hit mode into level mode, and then we're just setting like how hot do you want it, basically. So that's cool. This is pretty dope, guys. So I kind of want to see, this is its lowest level, as we are power and fuel conscious most of the time. How much can we get? I'm also curious if this will reach into our tent from the back of the Jeep. We might have to get a bigger hose. Guys, this thing is ripping. I'm worried that on the lowest setting, unless it's like cold, it's gonna like be too hot. The remote works great. It does have like auto temperature sensing if the unit were indoors, but that's not gonna work in either of our setups since we're gonna run it outside. So we'll just have to have the remote and dial it up and down. And you can turn it off and on from the remote too. It just takes it about 5 minutes to start up after you've let it turn off. Maybe 3 minutes. 5 minutes is a bit long. When I turn it up, if you can hear that tick, tick, tick of the fuel pump, which is a little loud. We'll see. I'll show you tomorrow how we're gonna set this up on the Jeep. It's gonna be pretty close to the tent. Basically, as you crank it up, it just cranks up the blower speed as well as the pump speed. Hear it? So I don't know, that might be 4 or 5 times more fuel consumption. Very curious how long a tank of diesel is going to last in this thing. This one also has Bluetooth. I'm supposed to be able to control it with an app. I'm trying to figure out what app I should download. But once I figure it out, we're going to try controlling it with the app.
Going? Whoa!
That's as low as it goes.
That's warm. Whoa! That's amazing.
Alright, you ready?
Can you use it to like heat the garage?
Yeah, that's how they actually have it in the manual. They run the exhaust through a wall and have it set up in a garage.
Are we cranking it to max?
I want you to see murder power.
And the thing can handle it?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, this is really nice. That's really good. What about fuel? How is this working? It's in here?
Yeah, look on the side.
And how long does that last?
I don't know.
Did you fill it up?
No, I filled it up to the 1 liter mark. There has not been an appreciable...
Above that.
Yeah, there's not an appreciable loss of fuel yet. I've only been running it for maybe half an hour.
This is wonderful. Where's it going out? Here?
That's the intake. That's air going in. This is the exhaust.
Oh, over here.
It's got a muffler on it. This is hot as f***.
Okay.
But it's like not so hot that the table's getting hot. The table's still cold to the
That's
touch.
gonna be tricky to situate.
Are you ready for the best part?
There's more?
Yeah, it talks to you. So I'm going to turn it off now. I got the app working.
Stop heating. Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
Now, if you've looked into diesel heaters before, you might have already seen these Vevor brand diesel heaters. They're pretty popular. When they sent it to us, I was pretty excited because they pointed out that there's a lot more to that company than just diesel heaters. They have a very thorough tool selection on their website, and they offered to let us pick from a lot of things, but we chose the diesel heater because, well, we needed one. But there's other stuff on their website that you might find interesting. We'll have a link in the description to this diesel heater, and they did offer to give us a commission on any sales through there, so it does help support the channel if you buy something. But it's not just diesel heaters, you should check it out. They have a ton of tools, also some like really interesting small business stuff, like packing supplies. It's like, think of it as like somewhere between like Harbor Freight and Uline, if that makes sense. We actually got a chimney sweeping kit to sweep the chimney on our wood stove this fall. I didn't actually do it yet, but we do have it, and it looks nice. So if you want to check this out or any of the other products they offer, check the link in the description below. Thanks for checking it out. It helps support the channel. All right, back to the test. Okay, it's time to put this thing to a real test. We've got both a Jeep and a van, and we're going to use it in both setups, but I'm going to test it in the van first. It's just around freezing, maybe like a little bit below freezing, so it's nice and chilly. It's gonna be down to 9 degrees this weekend. We bought this at Rendezvous in the Ozarks, directly from the manufacturer who was vending at the show. And so we grabbed one because I knew exactly how I was gonna use it for this diesel heater setup. So let's go see if we can figure out a way to rig this up on the van. Definitely gonna need a longer hose to get to the window here. This should do the trick. We're gonna try out this dryer hose. Okay, yeah, I've thought about it. We're gonna try a front window. Ideally though, a flange that fits down in here. It sounds kind of crazy. If I had a 3D printer, I would totally make, you know, it would come down to like one point where the hose hooks up and then it would spread the air across the whole window. It would totally work. But these are the only windows that open on the van. So it's one of these two. We're gonna fire this thing up and see if we can get it ducted through this front window.
Start heating.
Big gap to fill. Okay, so don't judge my crappy window baffle. I'm just working with what I got. It was ambient temperature in here, so right around freezing. I've got it on the lowest setting. Maybe it's placebo, but I feel like it's getting pretty warm in here. I'm gonna go find a thermometer. That's what we'll do. We'll test this for real.
It's cold in the back here.
It's warm in the front.
Yeah, it just needs, I think, time to like.
Once it gets like hot, we could pop open the vent fan.
And you have circulation. Yeah.
I don't have a better thermometer, so I brought this one.
That one's actually really good. 46.
We've got it up to 46 in here.
Not a done chicken.
48. All right, guys. Still got this on power level 3. It has been maybe 10 more minutes, and we are up to 55 degrees here in the van. For it being below freezing outside, that's not bad at all. I think I could turn it up. It's still very drafty. We still haven't insulated our doors in here. And I mean, I've just got blankets stuffed in the windows up here, so I don't have our insulated curtains down. There's just like, you know, a lot of ways that we can improve it, but it's definitely warm enough to keep the van warm below freezing, no doubt about that. I just need to figure out a better way to like baffle that window. Either that, or I put a vent in the wall of the van. Like drill a hole, put a pass-through with a 3-inch coupling on it that I can just quick release from the outside and some way to close it off from the inside. So I'm going to do some Amazon hunting, see if I can find something like that. Because if I could do that, I mean, as like overkill as that might sound, I think that'd be a really cool way to heat the van. Just hook it up, go. All right, let's bump this thing up. 4, 5, 6. We're going to level 6. All right, well, it seemed to top out around 60 up here in the middle. And so I went ahead and shut down our insulated window covers, at least some of them, to see what's going on. It's staying around that level, but then I started to notice that like there's kind of temperature differences here in the van. So actually up top here in the sleeping area, it's really well insulated back here in the back. We are up to 63 back here. So that's like, I mean, come on guys, it's below freezing outside. This thing's been running for 25 minutes, 64, right? That's super comfortable. And we honestly wouldn't run it this hot. We just put a heavy blanket on and keep it lower. Now down low at my feet right here, I can feel a draft. So about 5 degrees cooler down here. That's where Henry sleeps on his mattress down on the floor, 57. So yeah, we're in the 5 degrees, 6 degrees cooler range down here. So that's just something for us to be aware of. A little chillier for him on the bottom. But like, I'm actually getting kind of hot in my sweater. So I'm gonna shut this thing down because now I'm ready to test the Jeep. That Jeep tent is so small compared to this. It's gonna roast it. I can already tell.
Is this the kind of thing that like normal people do?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
This is the kind of thing people watch people on YouTube do, and then some people do. But I think it's dope. It's right up our alley.
Oh yeah.
Some people won't go camping in cold weather if they had a heater or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we should have power. I guess just it's about as far as I can get there. And zip it in there. All right, I'm firing it up.
Okay.
Start heating.
All right, it's all hooked up. We're rolling. We're starting at, I think it's 29 degrees now outside. So that's the inside temp of the tent. We're gonna let it run for, I don't know, I'm gonna give it 10 minutes here on level, I think we're on level 6, 10 minutes on level 5.
It's like one big open space, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really different. Like the air's so much more like right there, you know?
I think it's gonna roast it. This thing is screaming. You look at the positive air pressure. You can see it all blown up in there like a freaking balloon.
Feel it, like,
Yeah, I think level 1's gonna be more than enough.
Yeah, it's such a small space with no obstacles.
We've reached stable combustion. All right, it's been about almost 10 minutes on level 5 heat. I'm gonna climb up in there and see where we're at. You guys like that I'm using my kitchen thermometer for this? Brought my meat thermometer with me. We're gonna see how hot my meat will be in this tent. Doesn't look bad, right? I like the setup. I'm already thinking of accessories, different hose, plug system that's plug and play between the van and the Jeep. This is gonna be sweet. Oh my gosh, it's warm. It's warm in here, oh my God. I don't know how hot it is in here, but it's warm. This is crazy. Let me get the old temperature gauge out here. 10 minutes in, it is 68 in here. 68, and that's with me coming and going through the door and letting all the hot air out. And we don't even have our insulation tent in. It's 29 outside, 68 in the tent. This is awesome. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn it down to level 1 and see if it can maintain this temperature. I do have the app with Bluetooth, which is really cool. I also just have a really dead simple remote. So I can hear it sliding, spinning down. Can you get through? Come on in.
It's hot.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I can even warm my shoes up with
All right,
it.
wait. Aren't you too warm to be wearing that coat?
I think he melted.
I'm hot too.
It's hot.
Yeah. Sweater's coming off.
I'm too hot.
Yeah.
Take your coat off.
It's too hot.
We're on
in
level
here.
1. Guys, level 1.
How's it feel right there by the heater, Henry?
It's so
Oh,
hot.
it's too hot. You're getting out.
I'm getting anywhere. It's too hot.
Everyone had to leave the tent because it's too hot.
It's too hot.
We're gonna have to leave like the door cracked.
I gotta like open the door. All the way.
Oh, it's nice. It's a comfortable temperature.
It's like old people warm, you know?
Guys, this is incredible. Like, it's 28 outside. It's still dropping. Wind chills are like 20. And we're maintaining 70 degrees in here. 70 degrees on the lowest setting for this diesel heater. And the only way I'm able to maintain it is to actually vent the window. Otherwise, it's just like runaway heat. It gets hotter and hotter and hotter. This is amazing. We have like an insulated tent, like in the tent, it's called the insulation tent. If you watched our trip to Big Bend, we used that a lot because it got down into the 30s on that trip, and we slept in here with just sleeping bags. And I mean, it was cold, but like manageable. It was probably upper 40s, 50 degrees in here, and then we had sleeping bags. But this is like, you know, t-shirt weather when it's like life-threatening wind chills outside. That's crazy. We can camp in whatever temperature we want. We're gonna do some cold weather camping. We were gonna go this weekend, but the lows are like 9 degrees, and we were like, I don't know how good the heater's gonna work and if we've got it dialed in, so we held back on doing it. But now it's like, oh, absolutely. We are definitely like, whatever, 9 degrees, doesn't matter. This is gonna be awesome. Vevor has offered an additional 5% off to our viewers using the code VEV5OFF. So use the link in our description below and use code VEV5OFF to get 5% off your order. Well, that's it. I'm stoked. This was a super successful test. I've watched a lot of videos on these diesel heaters, and it's mostly just like people talking about them. I've never really seen someone actually use it. And so I wanted to use it for you guys. We used it in 2 contexts, in the van, in the Jeep. It's gonna be awesome. And for you, that means you get to see us do some winter camping. Not all of our videos are like talking about gear and products and van builds and setting things up. Sometimes we just travel. A lot of you really like it. Some of you only like it when we travel. This is just gonna enable us to travel some more, so expect to see some winter camping videos this winter. If you do wanna see us travel in that van, you can watch this video right here, which is the first video in our series to the California coast this summer, where we spent 5 weeks on the road. No diesel heater in that one. Although, we had some cold nights, it would have been nice. If you wanna just subscribe, that's right here on my face. Click it. Do it.